No consideration of the most important texts of the Bible would be complete without a word from the Old Testament prophets. Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas, and this is your daily devotional for Wednesday, July 15th, 2020. Continuing with our consideration of pivotal texts in the Bible that help us understand and interpret the rest of Scripture, we turn now to one of the most challenging texts of the Bible, this one from one of the so-called minor prophets. Minor not because they are unimportant, but because their books are so much shorter than the major prophets, the prophets Isaiah and Jeremiah and Ezekiel. The 12 minor prophets from Hosea through Malachi actually have a lot to say. But like the major prophets, their messages tend to focus on two things: the failure of the children of Israel to worship God alone, and their failure to care for the poor. One of my all-time favorite passages comes to us from Amos, a non-professional prophet from near Bethlehem, whom God called to speak to the leaders of the northern kingdom of Israel, centered in Samaria. Listen to these biting words from Amos. I despise your festivals, and I take no delight in your solemn assemblies. Even though you offer me your burnt offerings and grain offerings, I will not accept them. And the offerings of well-being of your fatted animals, I will not look upon. Take away from me the noise of your songs. I will not listen to the melody of your harps. But let justice roll down like waters, and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream. The two most important words here are justice and righteousness. They appear over and over again throughout the prophets, and they carry a certain meaning. They are often used together, meaning they point to a small cluster of ideas related to how we should treat each other in community. For the prophets, justice wasn't about criminal justice or even about legal justice. Justice meant the right treatment of the poorest and weakest in society. And righteousness wasn't about being puffed up with self-righteousness. It was about living a certain kind of life in which others matter to us just because they are also children of God. These words point to an unfortunate reality of all human communities, both then and now. Namely, that those with power and influence, which often equates to material wealth, tend to use their power to arrange financial laws and practices to favor themselves and others like them, often at the expense of the poor. Often called social justice, this idea reminds us that if we are going to be a community God calls us to be, if we're going to fulfill the promise to Abraham that we are to be a blessing to all the families of the earth, then we have to begin within our own common life to care for those who do not possess the power to influence the way the rules are made. Because, as it turns out, being religiously faithful isn't just about being a generally good person and going to church. It's about how we treat the most disadvantaged in our midst. Tomorrow, we continue with passages from the New Testament. Now may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.